If you are a woman past 60 and you have started waking up with hands that feel swollen and stiff, with skin on the back of your hands that has begun to look like crepe paper, with mornings that take an hour longer than they used to, I need you to hear what the longest living women on earth knew that your doctor will never tell you. After the age of 60, your body quietly loses more than 70% of something you cannot see, cannot feel, and cannot replace through any pill on the pharmacy shelf. And that single hidden loss is the real reason your cells are aging faster than the women who came before you in your own family line. The answer is not in your medicine cabinet. The answer is not in the expensive serums on your bathroom shelf. The answer begins with a humble purple vegetable that the grandmothers of Okinawa have eaten with their breakfast for over 1,000 years, and it ends with the one missing piece that vegetable alone cannot give you after 60. Stay with me, because the order I share these things in is the order they need to land in your kitchen. Hello, my dear ones. I am so glad you are here with me this morning. My name is Camilla Hayes. For over 35 years, I have sat across the kitchen table from women in my community, most of them past 60, listening to their bodies and helping them find their way back to themselves. The plant medicine I work with came down to me from my grandmother, and to her from her own mother, 4 generations of Gullah-influenced root work from the South Carolina foothills. My grandmother lived to 96. Her mother lived past 100. My great Aunt Pearl is 91 this fall and still tends her own kitchen garden. In my family, in my church, in the women I have walked alongside for 35 years, we have rarely seen the kind of cellular collapse the modern world treats as normal for women your age. And there is a reason for that. Today I'm going to share it with you. Here is what we will walk through together. First, the hidden cause that is silently aging every cell in your body, the one your 15-minute appointment will never address. Second, the Okinawan purple vegetable that addresses one half of that cause and exactly how to prepare it so your aging body can actually use it. Third, the missing piece that even this vegetable cannot give you after 60, the piece that took me many years of searching to find. And fourth, the small daily habits that hold all of it together. Stay with me to the end, because if you leave before the third part, you will only have half the picture. And half a picture in the kitchen is the same as no picture at all. There are 2 things happening inside your body right now, and they are working together to age you faster than you should be aging. The first one is happening in every cell you have. Inside each cell are small powerhouses called mitochondria. Think of them like the wood stove in your kitchen. When the stove burns clean, the kitchen is warm, the food cooks right, and the smoke goes up the chimney. When the stove burns dirty, the smoke fills the room, the food scorches, and everything in the house starts to suffer. After the age of 60, the average woman's mitochondria are burning dirty. The smoke they produce is called oxidative stress, and it is what turns your skin papery, your joints stiff, your memory slower, and your energy thinner. But this is only half of the story, and here is the half almost no one tells you about. While your mitochondria are burning dirty upstairs, something even more important is collapsing downstairs in your gut. The bacteria that line the wall of your digestive tract, the ones that calm inflammation, regulate your hormones, train your immune system, and protect every cell in your body. Those bacteria begin dying off in your 50s. By the time most women reach 65, more than 70% of those beneficial bacteria are simply gone. And here is what the gentlemen in the laboratories have only recently figured out. The gut is not just where you digest your food. The gut is where your body decides whether to inflame or to repair, whether to age fast or to age slow. My grandmother knew this with her hands flat on her own belly while she was kneading biscuit dough. The researchers in their white coats are only now catching up. Now, the modern answer to all of this is to sell you antioxidant pills and probiotic capsules. I have watched women spend hundreds of dollars on bottles of vitamins that promise to clean up the smoke, and most of them might as well have flushed the money down the kitchen sink. The reason is simple, and I will explain it fully in just a few minutes. But I want you to hold on to this thought. There is a reason isolated pills do not work in older bodies. And that reason is the key to everything I am going to share with you today. Researchers from the University of Hawaii spent 11 years studying women in Okinawa and women on the American mainland, following over 14,000 adults. They found that the Okinawan women had 43% less cellular damage in their tissues and not from any pill. The white coat scientists were not surprised when they finally traced it back. The aunties on those islands only nodded. They had been watching their grandmothers live to 104 for as long as anyone could remember. So, what were those women doing differently? Two things, and they were doing both of them every single morning together. The vegetable is the Okinawan purple sweet potato. Beni imo, the islanders call it. And before you tell me that you have eaten sweet potatoes your whole life, let me stop you right there. The orange sweet potato you grew up with at Thanksgiving is a fine food, but it is a different creature. The Okinawan purple sweet potato carries a class of compounds called anthocyanins, the same deep purple pigments you find in elderberries and wild blueberries, and it carries them at concentrations almost 4 times higher than any other root vegetable on Earth. Anthocyanins are nature's cellular firefighters. When they reach your bloodstream, they travel directly to those mitochondria I told you about, and they neutralize the smoky oxidative stress before it can damage your cell walls. They also signal your body to switch on a process called autophagy, which is a fancy word for what my grandmother called house cleaning. After 60, this house cleaning process slows down by almost 60% in most women. The purple sweet potato turns it back on. And here is the part that matters most for women your age. The Okinawan purple sweet potato has a glycemic load less than half that of a white potato, which means it does not spike your blood sugar the way other starches do. For a woman past 60, blood sugar spikes are pouring gasoline on the fire of cellular aging. This vegetable feeds you, satisfies you, gives you steady morning energy, and at the same time, it pulls the gasoline away from the fire. Now, listen carefully because this is where most women go wrong. You cannot boil this vegetable. Boiling pulls almost half of the anthocyanins out into the water, and you pour them down the drain. You cannot microwave it either. Here is how the Okinawan grandmothers have prepared it for 1,000 years. Take one small Okinawan purple sweet potato, about the size of your fist. You can find them at most natural grocery stores, and many Asian markets carry them year round. If you cannot find Okinawan purple, the Stokes purple sweet potato grown in North Carolina is a fine substitute. Wash it gently. Do not peel it. The skin holds nearly 30% of the anthocyanins. Cut it into rounds about a ½ inch thick. Bring an inch of water in a pot to a gentle simmer, not a hard boil. Place the rounds in a steamer basket, cover, and steam for 14 minutes. The flesh should be tender when you press it with a fork, but still hold its shape. And here is the pairing the islanders have always known. You eat this with a small spoonful of fat, a teaspoon of coconut oil, or a ½ tablespoon of grass-fed butter, or a small handful of walnuts on the side. The anthocyanins are fat soluble, which means your aging body can only absorb them well when fat is present. Without the fat, you are getting maybe 20% of what this vegetable has to give you, with the fat closer to 90%. Eat it within the first hour of waking before any coffee on an empty stomach. Let me tell you about Eleanor. Eleanor is 71, lives in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, and spent 42 years as a third-grade teacher. She came to me last spring, waking up at 5 in the morning, feeling already tired, with hands that felt swollen and stiff, and skin on the backs of her hands that had started to look like crepe paper. We started her on the morning purple sweet potato prepared exactly the way I just showed you. By week 8, her morning stiffness had dropped sharply, and her energy lasted into the afternoon for the first time in 5 years. But here is what Eleanor told me at the end of week 8. Camilla, I feel 60% of the way back. I can feel that something in me is healing. But there is still a piece I cannot reach, something inside me that has not switched on yet. And Eleanor was right. There was a piece she could not reach because the purple sweet potato addresses the upstairs of your body, the cellular fire. It does not address the downstairs. It does not address the gut. If this has helped you so far, my dear ones, please tap subscribe. So many women tell me they thought they were already subscribed and only realized they were not after months of watching. It takes 2 seconds and it helps me reach more of our seniors who need to hear these old ways. That is all I'm asking before we go deeper. My grandmother used to say that you can put the finest seed in the worst soil and it will not grow. The body that receives this purple root is only as strong as the terrain inside it. Remember the 70% I told you about at the beginning, the 70% of beneficial gut bacteria that most women have lost by 65. That is the soil. And no purple sweet potato in the world, no matter how perfectly you prepare it, can grow a healing crop in soil that is 70% dead. This is why probiotic pills do not work for women your age. I want to be very plain with you about this because I have watched too many women waste their grocery money on bottles that did nothing. Probiotics are seeds. Seeds alone cannot grow without soil. Probiotics need prebiotic fiber to feed on. And here is the part the laboratories only figured out in the last few years. Even probiotics with prebiotics are not enough. The bacteria need to actually produce something called postbiotics, which are the real healing compounds that calm inflammation, rebuild the gut wall, and switch on the cellular repair my grandmother was working on at her kitchen table 70 years ago. Seed, soil, fruit, all three. Take any one away, my grandmother would have said, and the garden does not grow. Now, I want to be honest with you about something. For many years, I tried to recreate what my grandmother did with her crocks of fermented vegetables, and I tried to find a way for the older women I work with to get all three pieces in something simple, because most of you have told me you are tired of swallowing capsules and you are tired of bottles of pills lined up on your kitchen counter. I tried more probiotic brands than I can count. Most of them carried only the seed. A few carried seed and soil. None of them carried the fruit. Then about 2 years ago, a doctor I trust forwarded me the clinical research on a pair of strains called Lactospore and Postbiotics LM1004. Lactospore is a probiotic strain hardy enough to survive your stomach acid and actually reach the gut wall, which most probiotics on the market cannot do. Postbiotics LM1004 is a postbiotic, the actual fruit, the healing compound the bacteria produce after they have done their work. The two of them together do what my grandmother's fermented foods did, only measured, gentle, and consistent. The brand that carries both, along with prebiotic fiber and slippery elm, which my grandmother kept in a jar above her stove for as long as I can remember, is called BoochBod. It is a kombucha gummy, not a pill, which matters more than you might think for women your age because the lining of an aging stomach handles a small chewable far better than a capsule that has to be broken down. Over 30,000 people are using it right now. And it comes with a 60-day money-back guarantee, which is what told me the people who make it actually believe in what is in the bottle. I started recommending it to Eleanor at the end of her second month. Within 3 weeks of adding the morning gummy to her purple sweet potato routine, the final piece switched on. Her hands stopped feeling swollen when she woke. Her sleep deepened. The crepe paper texture on the backs of her hands began to soften in a way that the sweet potato alone had not been able to reach. She told me, "Camilla, this is the piece I was missing. This is what completed the circle. I want to be clear with you. The purple sweet potato is the foundation. It is not optional. It is the cellular firefighting that keeps the upstairs of your body cooling down every morning. But after 60, the soil has to be rebuilt. At the same time, the seed is being planted. And the only way I know to do that gently and consistently and in a single small daily gummy is BoochBod. The link is in the description below. As always, please speak to your doctor before starting any supplement, especially if you are managing diabetes or are on medications that affect the gut. Now, with the foundation set and the missing piece in place, there are three small habits my grandmother folded into our mornings without ever calling them medicine, and each one amplifies what the purple root and the gut work are doing. The first is warm lemon water before the sweet potato. Squeeze half a fresh lemon into 8 ounces of warm water and drink it slowly while your steamer is going. The gentle acid wakes up your stomach lining and prepares it to absorb the anthocyanins more completely. Frances, a client of mine from Savannah, told me this single change doubled what she felt from the sweet potato within 10 days. The second is a small handful of bitter greens with the meal. Arugula, dandelion greens from your yard if you have them clean, or watercress. The bitter compounds activate your liver and gallbladder. My grandmother always said that bitter on the tongue means medicine in the blood. The third is a slow morning walk of 15 to 20 minutes after the meal, not a workout. Movement during digestion helps the anthocyanins reach the small capillaries in your skin and your brain, where they do their finest work. Eat the sweet potato warm, not hot. Stay consistent for 90 days because the deep changes settle in around month 3. And do not skip the gut work because without the soil, the seed cannot grow. My dear ones, I want you to hear me now. This is about the morning 20 years from now when you wake up in your own bed, in your own home, and you put your feet on the floor without holding on to anything. This is about the Sunday afternoon when your granddaughter sits next to you on the porch swing and you are the one telling her the stories. It is never too late. The body at 70 and 75 and even at 80 still knows how to rebuild itself when you give it the right materials. If you take only one thing from this video today, take this. Start the BoochBod Gummy this week while you are still feeling the conviction of what we just walked through together. The link is in the description below. The 60-day guarantee means your only risk is whether the bottle takes longer than the postman to arrive. Add the purple sweet potato in the morning. Layer in the lemon water and the bitter greens and the walk as you settle into the rhythm. And give your body 90 days. That is the whole thing. That is what I would tell you if you were sitting at my kitchen table this morning. Until next time, take gentle care of yourselves and each other.